Hello, and welcome to part two of the employee onboarding into the iSolved platform. In this video, this is where we're going to cover what does the employee see in that process of onboarding. In the last video where we ended that one, we had clicked on the save button and on the black action menu toolbar, and it automatically sent out the email to the employee we were getting ready to onboard. And so here is the email here. When they get into their email inbox, this will be here. It's from Columbia EDP at my iSolve. Here, when they click into that email, here is the pre-formatted email for them with a link to begin their registration process. So when they click onto that link right there, it is going to ask them to set up their account. So they will just enter their base information right here. So white paper. Their email addresses are already pre-populated in there for them. They can put a mobile number in there if they'd like to. It's an optional, it's not required. It just means that they will get their security verifications and notifications at that email address. I'm sorry, at that phone number if they want to. So then it's going to ask them to set up their password, and it does give them what the requirements are right here to set up that password accurately. Okay, so I'm just going to paste in a password that we have set up. And then it's going to ask them to choose a security challenge question. So they have a list right here that they can go to. They just enter in what the answer would be from there. And then they want to click on the create account button. Once they do that, that will then give them the notification that their account has been set up, but they're going to receive a link to confirm their account as to who they are. So what they'll do is they'll go back to their email, back to the inbox, and they'll wait just a few minutes for that other email to show up. It usually does not take very long, and there we go. There's the confirmation email right there. So if they click into that, then here's the link for them to go in and confirm that they are who they said they are. And so this is great. It says, okay, great, you've been confirmed. Now let's continue to iSolved. So this is the login screen that they should be getting to. And so they want to enter in their email address because that is their login ID. Click on next. And then they want to put in the password they set up. And so here is where the two-factor authentication will come into play. It will ask them, it will send them a verification code one last time. And so they've put in their email address and put in their password. Click on next. It will tell them, hey, great, we've got your email address as your login. They'll click on next. And this is there are certain policies they have to agree to when they do their onboarding. And so this is the first one. This is really more of a privacy policy issue that says, gives them information about what will actually happen through the employee portal when they're onboarding. So they can read through that if they choose to. And then they click on the accept button right there. Okay, from there, this is the consent to use electronic signatures. So they will have to sign certain things electronically and agree to them, acknowledge them through the process. And so this is really their consent to do that. So they would just choose I accept right here. Click on submit. Once they've done that and it's been accepted, it will now take them into the onboarding process, and I'll tell them that they've successfully started that. So they just click on the start onboarding button right here. Now we can customize this message right here for them. Let's go into the read more option. And this really is just, we put base information about the onboarding process that they should know. And so if we need to change that, please let us know. We can actually customize that for you. So we start the onboarding process right there. And so we start with the personal information, go to start. And this is where they're going to update all of their personal stuff. But you can see over here, there is kind of a checklist of things that they're going to have to go through to finish up and to be completely finished with their onboarding process. So if they do not, there are certain pieces they have not completed in the process. It will not let them submit it until they have done it, which is super nice to make sure that you're getting everything that you need from the employee during the onboarding process. So again, this first part is the profile area or personal information. They can upload a picture of themselves if they'd like to, or if you want them to, you can do that. They click on the About You. So click into the Start. There's their first and last name, and then any kind of preferred name, pronouns, what have you. They do need to enter an address in there. If not, they cannot finish out their tax information if they do not. So we're going to 896 Curry Lane, and then their zip code. So 65202. And that's going to ask them where, based on that zip code, where they're actually living. And so we're just going to choose Columbia. Okay, and then they can put in alternate addresses if they'd like to. Then just click on the save. Okay, from here, their contact details. This is how they're going to fill out their information for their contact information, how you're going to get a hold of them. This is the area that if you did not have a date of birth or a social security number on the employee, this is where they would be able to enter that in. And so they can edit that if they need to, if maybe it was entered incorrectly or that was entered incorrectly here. Click on cancel. They can view it here to see what that looks like. Okay. So enter their work phone number right there. If they have a home phone number right there, we can do the same thing right there, or cell number. And then an email address if they have something other than the one that we sent the registration link to. This is their personal email address. They can be the same if they want to put them that way. And then their marital status and military status. This is not based on their tax information at all. That's a whole different piece of the process, but this is just for informational purposes only. So once they filled out that information correctly, they click on save. Once they've done that, they're good. They can just click on the next button, and you'll see up here now they're done with the personal. That's green check marked right there. So they click on next. This is where they can put in their contacts, so emergency contact information. We're going to contact, and we want to choose the relationship that they have. So whatever that other person is, let's say it's a spouse, and they're an emergency contact. So we're going to paper. Okay, their work phone number, just choose that one, and then the email address, if they have one. If they don't, not a big deal, but it will need at least a relationship and a phone number in here. So then they click on save, and now that portion is completed. You can see the green check mark right there. They can add more contacts if they want to, but it's not required. And then we just click on next. And now we're into the direct deposit information, so they can set up their own direct deposit through the system, and you'll be able to approve it once they have finished their onboarding. So we're going to add in a direct deposit. Here, they will need their routing number right here. We're just going to put in one for them. So routing number right there, and then their account number. Okay, and the type of account that it is. There's a checking or savings, pay card or not. So there's that. And then they can put it in description if they want to. And then this distribution details for most employees who are only going to have one account, they want to choose remaining net. So that means that everything is going to be deposited into that one account for them. Now, the other thing you're going to notice here is this direct deposit authorization statement, and we're going to come back to that in just a moment. First, we're going to save this so this banking information is in the system and you can approve it. One of the things that they will have to process their steps, they will have to complete is this direct deposit authorization statement. And this is the statement that basically says that we are, as Columbia EDP, authorized to deposit money into their account and to pull money back out if they have been paid in error. So this is a requirement in the system. They do have to acknowledge this. So that process is they click on the direct deposit authorization statement right there. It's going to say, hey, we're going to open a document for you or download it to your device. You click on OK. It is then going to download, you can see right here, the direct deposit authorization form. So when they click on that, this is the authorization statement form that they need to read through, which is what's included on our basic paper copy of our direct deposit form. They will then need to come back into here and then select the fact that they have read and understand that document. So they just check box right there and they sign it right there. And then they get a confirmation saying, okay, you are certifying you have read this document. And they click on yes. That now allows them to move past that portion of the system. If they do not acknowledge this, they will not be able to continue submitting their onboarding. They can walk through the rest of the process, but it will still leave that out there for them to do before they click on the submit button. Okay. So once they're done with that, now they're ready to go on to next. They go on to next. This is going to take them into their taxes right here. So they do their tax forms. This is where they fill out their both federal and state W-4s. And so this is just walks them through a series of questions. You'll notice down here that all tax forms must be completed and submitted to save your information, and any partial updates will be lost. So they will need to do this in one go. So we click on Start. We can start with our federal, and then our Missouri will follow on. So we click on Continue, and so this is the federal, and so this is just the same questions that it asks on the W-4 when they're looking at the paper copy. So they're going to continue in English. They can do it in Spanish if they would like. So here we start on our federal. Click on Start. Just again, it just asks them a series of questions. Are you a non-resident alien? No, I'm not. Click on Next. Am I exempt from 2023 withholding, or I am not exempt from 2023 withholding? And I am not exempt from federal taxes. Click on Next, and then they fill out their filing status. I'm single or married, filing separately. This is based on the new W-4s. So this is not the old one. And then they can select if there's multiple jobs or there's 2 jobs total or none of the above. Click on Next. How would you like to claim any dependents? Yes or no. And depending on what they choose, then if they choose yes, it will open up the tax credit right here. So they can put in their number of dependents that they have under 17 if they want to claim that credit. So let's say we have 2. Number of other dependents would be 0, and any other kind of tax credits that we want to account for. We click on Next. Would you like to complete step 4 or other income deductions or extra withholdings? It's completely optional. It's if they want more money taken out of their paycheck every pay period for whatever reason. We click on No on this one if we don't. And then they have to certify that they are the ones filling this out. So they have to check that box and use the last 4 digits of their social security number to submit the form. That's their PIN number. So let me click on Submit Form. And there is an actual copy, and it will put a copy out in their employee portal for them. And it also will create a copy and put it into the payroll system for you as well. So you have an electronically signed copy. You can see here it's a little small, but when you look at the actual printed copy or the copy in the employer side, you'll see that based on the fact that we claimed 2 dependents, it automatically did all the calculations and put it on the form for you. It will automatically transfer that into payroll as well for you. So once they're done with that, they want to click on the Continue button up here. Okay, now we're going to fill out our Missouri W-2. So do you work in Missouri? Yes, I do. So we click on Next, and then we start our Missouri W-2 or W-4. So filing status, I'm going to say I'm single. I am not exempt, or they can choose whichever one applies to them, but majority of them will be that they're not exempt. If they want any additional amount withheld every pay period, so we're going to say we want $5 withheld every pay period. If they want something other than the standard deduction, they can do that. But most employees, if they want something held out, it's going to be more. It's an additional amount. Click on Next. And again, this is just their certification and verification that they are the ones filling this out. So again, they use the last 4 of their social security number, and they submit the form. And it creates the Missouri form for them. Okay. This will end up again in their portal for them to see, and also on the employer side of it, it'll end up in their documents there. So we just click on Finish, and then the taxes are done. So now we can close out this section right down here. Okay. The last part of this for you guys is that we're just going to click on Next. And this is just letting them know that they've completed all of their tasks. Again, if they had not done the verification on the paycheck side of it for the direct deposit, that would still show that they had something else to do, and they would have to go in there and acknowledge that agreement. So I click on Next, and they said, do you want to submit or submit later? They can also come in here and review the information that they've put in the system if they want to. And we just click on Submit if they're done. What that then will now do is it puts all that information together, and it's transferring it over into the employer side of it, and it will let the employee know that, hey, your onboarding packet for your side of it, your process is done, and that you'll be notified when the onboarding is complete on the employer side. So we'll wait here for just a second while that does that portion. So here it is. Here's your onboarding is complete, and they can now exit the portal. The username and password they set up initially will be their username and password to get back into the system once they are onboarded. So that is the synopsis of what the employee sees during the onboarding process. The next video, again, will be part 3. This is what do you do as an employer on your end for onboarding your employees to get them into payroll and get them ready to go from there. So we'll see you in the next video. Thanks.